Have you ever wondered if time as we know it could be distorted and manipulated? A curious question that scientists, philosophers, and sci-fi enthusiasts alike have pondered for ages. As we delve into this fascinating topic, let's first establish some ground rules. Time, as we commonly perceive it, is a steady tick-tock, a constant progression from the past, through the present and into the future, right? But what if it's not? What if time, in its essence, is a malleable construct that can be twisted, turned, and even looped? This isn't just the stuff of science fiction. In the realm of theoretical physics, time is viewed as a dimension, much like the three spatial dimensions we're familiar with. This perspective opens a whole new world of possibilities, including the tantalizing prospect of time distortions. But that's not all. Let's take this thought a step further. If time can be distorted, then what about reality itself? Could there be alternative realities, parallel universes even, existing alongside our own? Imagine a multiverse where countless versions of reality coexist, each with its own unique timeline and events. In one reality, you might be a world-renowned scientist. In another, you could be a rock star or perhaps an acclaimed novelist. The possibilities are as endless as they are thrilling. Now, I know this might sound like a wild flight of fancy. It's certainly a far cry from our everyday experiences, but remember, we're exploring the outer edges of theoretical understanding here, venturing into territories where imagination and scientific inquiry intertwine. So, buckle up. We're about to embark on an intellectual adventure, a journey that will challenge our understanding of time and reality. It's a trip into the unknown, filled with mind-bending concepts, intriguing theories, and the promise of unimaginable possibilities. Imagine if you could visit a reality where you are an astronaut, or a reality where dinosaurs never went extinct. Sounds exciting, right? But first, we need to understand what time is. You see, time is something we often take for granted. We watch the hands of a clock move. We see the sun rise and set. We watch the leaves change from green to red and fall from the trees. These are all everyday examples of time passing. But what is time, really? Consider this. When you measure the height of a tree, you're measuring it in a specific dimension, length. The same goes for when you measure how wide a river is, or how deep a hole is. These are all measurements in dimensions. Now, time is also a dimension, much like length, width, and height. It might be a bit tricky to wrap your head around this concept, but stick with me. Imagine you're on a train. The train moves forward, right? You can't go back, you can only go forward. That's how we experience time. We're continuously moving forward through this dimension we call time, and just like the train, we can't move backward. Now you might be thinking, well, I can move left and right, up and down, so why can't I move backwards in time? That's a brilliant question. The answer lies in the laws of physics. According to the second law of thermodynamics, processes in a closed system tend to move towards a state of maximum disorder or entropy. This is why a broken glass doesn't spontaneously piece itself back together. It's also why we age and why we remember the past, not the future. But here's a thought. What if we could bend the rules? What if we could find a way to navigate this dimension, much like we navigate through space? It's a tantalizing idea that has captured the imagination of many a science fiction writer, and even some physicists. Time, then, is not just the ticking of a clock, but a dimension we're constantly moving through. So, if time is a dimension, could we potentially manipulate it? Well, this is where things get interesting. We delve into the realm of theoretical physics, where our conventional understanding of reality gets a little distorted. Let's consider time as a river. We're all in a boat, floating down that river. The current carries us along at a constant pace. That's our perception of time, always moving forward at the same speed. But what if there were peculiarities in this river? What if there were areas where the current slows down, speeds up, or even loops back on itself? This is the idea of time distortion. Just as gravity can bend space, causing what we perceive as gravity wells or black holes, it could also theoretically distort time. Imagine a heavy stone thrown into our river of time, causing ripples and whirlpools. This is akin to the concept of a wormhole, a shortcut through space-time that may allow us to jump forward or backward in time. Now, let's take this one step further. What if our river of time isn't the only river? What if there are other rivers, other timelines, flowing parallel to ours? These could represent alternative realities, where history has taken a different course. By manipulating time, we might be able to cross over into these alternative realities. But bear in mind, this is purely speculative. The physics that would allow such a thing are, yet, undiscovered. It's also worth mentioning that any manipulation of time could have grave consequences. For instance, if we were to slow down time, would we age slower? If we reverse time, could we undo past events? These are questions that scientists and philosophers are still grappling with. So here we are, adrift in a river of time that could theoretically be as malleable as a river of water. We could potentially bend it, slow it down, or even reverse it. Just like a river, time could theoretically be bent, slowed down, or even reversed. If we can distort time, could we also access alternative realities? This question opens a fascinating concept that's been the subject of many sci-fi tales and philosophical debates. Imagine for a moment that each decision you make creates a ripple effect across the fabric of reality. Every choice, every action, every thought could lead to a different outcome, and therefore a different reality. Like a choose-your-own-adventure story, but instead of flipping to a different page, you're stepping into a different universe. Consider this. You're at a crossroads. One path leads to a quiet life in the countryside, the other to a bustling cityscape. In our current understanding of reality, you can only choose one. But what if, in an alternative reality, you could experience both? What if there was a version of you who took the other path? This idea stems from the theory of quantum mechanics, where particles can exist in multiple states at once, only collapsing into one state when observed. It's as if the universe itself can't make up its mind until it's forced to choose. Now apply that principle to our lives. For every decision we make, there could be an alternative reality where we make a different choice. A reality where you took that job offer or didn't. Where you moved to a different city or stayed put. Where you said yes or where you said no. These alternative realities aren't just theoretical musings. They could be as real as the world we live in, only separated from us by the thin veil of dimensionality. And if we could somehow pierce that veil, we might be able to navigate these alternative realities to live out every possible iteration of our lives. This concept is mind-boggling to say the least. It challenges our understanding of reality, of time, and of our own existence. But isn't that what makes it so fascinating? Each decision could lead to a branching of realities, creating an almost infinite number of possible worlds. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine the adventure. This is the fascinating concept of alternative realities. Now let's tackle the big question. How could we navigate these time distortions and alternative realities? Imagine you're at the helm of a ship, navigating through a storm. The waves are time distortions, unpredictable and chaotic, threatening to throw you off course. The calm eye of the storm, that's your alternative reality, a peaceful parallel to our own world. Now how do we steer through this tempest and reach that tranquil center? First, let's consider wormholes. They're like shortcuts through the fabric of space-time, a tunnel between 2 points in the universe. In our analogy, a wormhole would be a direct route through the storm, bypassing the wild waves and leading us straight to the calm. The challenge, of course, is finding one and ensuring it's stable enough for us to pass through. Next, we have quantum superposition. This concept comes from the weird and wonderful world of quantum physics, where particles can exist in multiple states at once. It's like our ship being in 2 places simultaneously, both battling the storm and resting in the calm center. The trick is to collapse this superposition, to choose the reality we want to inhabit. But how do we do that? Well, this is where it gets tricky. It might involve manipulating quantum states, a feat we haven't yet mastered. But remember, not so long ago, splitting the atom or landing on the moon seemed impossible too. We must also consider the possibility of multiple alternative realities, like many paths through the storm, each leading to a different calm center. Choosing the right path? That's another challenge altogether. Navigating time distortions and alternative realities is a complex theoretical journey. It's a voyage that requires us to push the boundaries of our understanding, to challenge what we know about the universe and our place in it. While it's all theoretical now, who knows what the future might bring? However, it's not all fun and games. There are potential dangers and ethical implications to consider. When we talk about manipulating time and accessing alternative realities, we're venturing into a realm that's not only scientifically uncharted, but also ethically complex. The most obvious concern is the potential for paradoxes. Imagine, for instance, you travel back in time and accidentally prevent your parents from meeting. This is the classic grandfather paradox, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. What about the future? If you knew the outcome of a major event, would you have the right to change it? And who gets to decide what changes are for the better? The power to alter the course of history could easily become the power to dictate it, and that's a dangerous prospect indeed. There's also the question of consent. If you change someone's past, you're effectively changing their present and their future. But what if they didn't want those changes? What if they were happy with their life as it was? The right to personal autonomy is a fundamental ethical principle, and time manipulation could potentially violate it on a profound level. Additionally, we must consider the potential for misuse. If the ability to travel through time and access alternative realities fell into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. Imagine a world where unscrupulous individuals could rewrite history to suit their own purposes, or where criminals could escape justice by simply jumping to a different reality. Finally, there's the issue of environmental impact. Every action has a reaction, and every change has a consequence. If we start meddling with time and reality, what might the repercussions be for the world around us? Could we inadvertently cause more harm than good? While the concept of time distortions and alternative realities is undeniably fascinating, it's not without its risks. We must tread carefully, with a deep respect for the complexity and fragility of the world we inhabit. After all, the power to manipulate time and reality comes with great responsibility. Despite these concerns, the exploration of time distortions and alternative realities holds immense potential. We stand at the edge of a frontier, peering into the infinite abyss of possibilities, with the tools of science and the curiosity of humanity as our only guides. Our understanding of time and reality has been revolutionized over the past century. From Einstein's relativity to quantum mechanics, we've unearthed the fundamental strangeness of the universe and found that at its core, it dances to a tune far removed from our everyday experiences. The theories of time distortions and alternative realities, once the domain of science fiction, are increasingly being supported by scientific evidence. Just as we now accept the once unthinkable idea of a universe filled with billions of galaxies, so too might we one day accept the existence of multiple realities and the malleability of time. But what does the future hold for these concepts? We are just beginning to scratch the surface of these ideas. Theoretical physicists are working tirelessly to reconcile the inconsistencies between quantum mechanics and relativity, a task that could provide a clearer picture of time and reality. Meanwhile, philosophers and ethicists are grappling with the potential implications of such discoveries. As we venture further into the unknown, we must do so with caution and respect for the immense power that these concepts hold. The ability to manipulate time and reality could be a double-edged sword, capable of both great good and unimaginable harm. It is therefore crucial that we continue to engage in robust ethical discussions about these topics. In this quest, science and philosophy must walk hand in hand, guiding us through the labyrinth of uncertainty. Only through continued research and open dialogue can we hope to navigate this uncharted territory safely and responsibly. The future is a vast ocean of possibilities, and who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to navigate the rivers of time and the seas of alternative realities.